Welcome everybody to Super League Raw Weekly. Me and Greg in the room as usual. Hi mate, okay?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So a little tribute there to
had a good first week out of lockdown, have we?
Yes, not too bad. Not too
Sorry,
bad.
sorry for interrupting there.
It's all right. Yeah, not too shabby at all, mate. So a little bit of an opening tribute there to Paul Sculthorpe, something that we're going to be doing, looking at some Super League legends. Greg, the only back-to-back Man of Steel winner in Super League history. Paul Sculthorpe, Lancashire lad, won a couple of Challenge Cups, 4 Super Leagues, 2 World Club Cups. Represented his country a total of 31 times and scored 9 tries as well in that time. All in all, a fantastic rugby league player.
Yeah, he wasn't bad, was he?
No.
He'd have done best if he'd have stayed at Warrington, mate, and convinced of that.
I don't think so. Somebody tells me I don't think so. But no, I mean, I mean, the thing with Sculthorpe, for me, a couple of clips there. I'll be interested more from you, really. But one of my memories, or big memories, of Sculthorpe was that try against the Aussies. And I think when it came to playing the Aussies at international level, it's fair to say, some of our players over the years haven't really stood up to that test. But Sculthorpe was in that bracket that when the Aussies came to town, he turned up, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he used to relish that battle against the Aussies. And I was thinking about that today. That team, we had Farrell in there, Andy Farrell in there, and Scully in there. And it's a shame that those two were so similar in kind of the way they played and played in the same position. Because if it had been slightly different players, we would have had an absolutely fantastic team if we could have accommodated them in their natural positions. We had to play Scully at number 6 a lot of the time. He did in that game. Accommodate Farrell. Yeah, to accommodate Farrell. And it's just a shame. It's a shame that we had Farrell and we had Sculthorpe at the same time. And we could. Would we have benefited from them being slightly different players?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe. Good man. Well, like I say, we'll be doing this every week, maybe every couple of weeks. We'll take a look at a Super League legend. But I think on behalf of any rugby league fan, Paul Sculthorpe, an absolute superstar of the game.
He is an absolute top guy as well. I've spoken to him on a few occasions, and he's a real nice bloke, a real top fellow. Yeah, so he's a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, we posted that video on our platforms today before today's show, and again, quite a few Super League fans from across the clubs saying exactly that. When you meet Paul Sculthorpe, he's a down-to-earth guy, really good fella, one of the good guys, isn't he?
Yeah, really helpful as well. Which he helped me with a little project I was doing in the summer.
That's right.
And what a guy.
Fab, right. So when we were here this time last week, we'd just gone over the 300 member mark. Sadly, not quite to 500. We're so close. I think we've got about 14 to go. We're close to about 500 members. We're still less than 3 weeks old. So I think, again, on behalf of Greg and I, thank you to everybody who's took the time to follow us and show the support. We hope you're enjoying the shows.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, and last week's show is over 215 views now. So this weekly show, over 215 views from last week. Unbelievable.
That's great. That's great. Thank you very much for your support and getting involved.
Absolutely.
And tell your friends. Drag them from the beer garden, from the hairdressers, after those non-essential shops.
And bring your grandma.
Yeah, as well. And remember, they call non-essential for a reason. You don't need to be there. Come and watch us.
Happy days. Right, mate. Moment of the week. What was your moment of the week this week?
My moment of the week was Adam Reynolds' first 2-point field goal in the NRL. I'm going down under, as it were, for most of my highlights of the week this week. But the first 2-point field goal, Adam Reynolds. We were talking about him last week, weren't we?
Yeah, we were.
Still a bit of a cloud over his future, I believe.
We might get onto that a bit later. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Go on then. Your moment, your highlight of the week.
Mine last week was Parsi. Having had that opening game with Paulie, who absolutely nailed him. I felt, on his comeback game, I felt it was really important that he played well and that he actually showed that, the other prop forwards in Super League that, he's capable, more than capable at this level. And I think he did that. I think he did that very, very well. I was pleased for him. He's a hell of a unit. I mean, dearie me, he played well against Leeds. So yeah. I thought, he's one of his first carries. He obviously floored the lad from Leeds. So yeah, Parsi, having took a big knock himself to come back. Fair play to the lad.
Yeah, I agree. And you're right. He's a big unit. He's in the mould of Massoy and other South Sea Islanders like that. Pains me to say this, but Saints usually don't miss with the signings they bring in.
No.
So yeah, they don't get a lot wrong, Saints. So yeah, he did well. But I just a historic moment for me. The Adam Reynolds field goal, 2 points. Yeah. That just nudged it for me.
Yeah, no, fair play. Team of the week. Who are you going with for team of the week?
Oh, this was a close one. And do you know what? I think I'm going to go with Leeds.
Okay.
Because they had a lot of injuries and they put up a hell of a performance against Saints. And could have. If they've had a full team, who knows? But they pushed Saints all the way, and it was only that last minute try that put any respectability on the score. So sorry to Saints fans, I thought Leeds did really well considering the kind of the injury problems that they've got. And the young kids they got out there stood up and did a fine job. That was my team of the week.
Yeah, I can see why you're going down that line. What I would say, because I'm not going to go with that, but what I would say to both St Helens and Leeds, what a game! Really enjoyed that on Saturday. And well done to both sides. In terms of my team of the week, I'll be honest. For the second week running, I'm going Castleford. Castleford were dead and buried Friday night, dead and buried. They were behind. I think it was 22 points to 6. Then they were 32 points to 18 down going into the last 15 minutes of that game. With the news coming out of Castleford last week around Darryl Powell, then John Wells, and I think somebody posted tongue in cheek that even the dinner lady was leaving. Lesser players would have, at 32-18 gone, you know what? We're not going to win this. We'll roll over and hide behind the headlines. And credit to the Castleford players. They roll the sleeves up. That last 15 minutes, Paul McShane showed why he is the man of steel. He absolutely was sensational throughout the game, but especially in that last 15 minutes. So, Castleford, it's a bit of a love-in for me at the moment with Castleford, but, take it whilst you can. I'm going Castleford for second week running.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't choose Castleford. Simply because it did take until about 20 minutes to go before they started to play. And Hull KR have been a bit renowned this season. Sorry, KR fans, for kind of, only being a 40-minute team. But a special mention to Swinton, who did really well against Warrington. A special mention to as a Warrington fan. Yeah. I expected, well, you never know what to expect with Warrington, let's be honest, but they made it uncomfortable for us at times, and fair play to them. They were up there with, but I just went for Leeds because of two players pulling out just before or in the week in the run up to the kickoff. They had injury problems, had young kids playing. I think if Dwyer had come on earlier, they may well have had a bit of a shout.
Well, we'll come on to the third round in a mo, and I'm sure we'll talk about a few things that you've said there. Right, try of the week. Just a quick one. The Super League Raw Fans Forum. There was a poll put on there by me. I think next week I might not put a player from each team because at the moment it'd be a surprising one. But the Super League Fans Forum with 38 votes at the moment has voted for Jordan Johnston of Hull FC. I think the Hull FC fans have come out in the droves for that one. But what was yours? What was your try of the week?
At least okay, I've won something this week. Again, as I said, that could be me. That could be me not appearing next week. As I said, I've gone. I'm going down under this week. I thought Benji Marshall's try, the first try against the Broncos for the Souths, was it Saturday morning, was an absolutely superbly worked try. Just class. Across the field, pinpoint kick. Just kept the attack going. Benji Marshall, all he had to do was finish it off in the end, but a great try, a really enjoyable try to watch. So I've gone for that one.
Okay.
Yourself, Dave?
Mine, I'm going to be boring, but actually, before I keep the loving going, I really enjoyed Hardcastle's for Featherstone. The opening try at the Featherstone game. It was a belting try. Well done to Featherstone for that one. Thought it was really, really good. But at the risk of being boring, you got 10 seconds on the clock. You're on your 45 you're 45 meters off your own line. You pass the ball 11 times, and just after the hooter goes, Jordan Turner goes over. Absolutely phenomenal try to go 32 all. Incredible try, great team try, and that's why we love this sport. It's not over until the hooter sounds, is it?
Exactly, and after the hooter sounds as well. I can't argue with that either. It's just that I enjoyed that Benji Marshall try. As I said last week, I'm enjoying me in RL this season. I fell out with it last season. I think maybe because crowds are in as well. It makes such a difference. But I couldn't disagree with you. It's just I particularly enjoyed that try. It was just I'm not particularly a South fan. It was against my Aussie team. But it was a great try.
Well, I am a South fan. I was delighted. What about quote then? Quote of the week. Have you got a quote of the week this week?
Yeah, and believe it or not, I'm going down under again. I'm going with Andrew Voss.
Okay.
Tommy, and I can't say his surname. The Aussie legend that died this week. Les Boyd's mate. He went toe to toe with Les Boyd and lived. Yeah. So he's got to be a bit of a legend. Sorry, Robin. I can't say it. But his quote was, he loved rugby league from the top of his head to the bottom of his boots. I thought, wow, what a quote. And it got me thinking, how many people who run our game, this great game, could you say that quote about at this moment in time? Yeah. And I'm not saying that to be controversial. It's just, you got the guy from Huddersfield who's in a temporary role there, who genuinely does love his rugby league, the support he's put into Huddersfield. But he loved rugby league from the top of his head to the bottom of his boots. It was like, wow, that's a great quote. That's Andrew Voss, a great commentator.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if anybody disagrees with what we're saying, try the week's team of the week's quote of the week's, whatever it is.
Please.
The live chat is open. Just use the comments box on the YouTube channel, and me and Greg will see it. In terms of quote of the week from me, actually, I'm going to go to one of our Super League Fan Forum members, Hull FC, I believe is his team. Here's one for you. He's actually currently residing in Hong Kong. His name is Anthony Phillips.
Wow.
And he might be, he said if he can't catch it live, he'll certainly be watching it on repeat. So, Anthony, hello to you.
Morning, evening, afternoon.
Indeed. We've also got quite a few from Australia as well that have actually joined as well, which is great. But Anthony's quote, and this was off the back of the England squad, which is where we're going to go in a second. And I really like this one. This was in response to, basically in response, I'll put it up on the screen actually, in response to us putting this onto our Facebook page and sharing it around. And this was the Gary Schofield England 17. This was the 17 that Gary Schofield picked this week in League Express. And Anthony Phillips' response to this was, as people have already said, can't really see a side much better than this one. I might go for King, for Percival, but the best thing for me, and hopefully for Sean Wayne too, is that people are in their correct and preferred positions. No Tompkins at halfback or second rows playing in the centre. If we can just get a fluid 17 on the pitch, that will be a bonus. Bench looks solid too, as much as it pains me to say, because Mr. Schofield has lost my respect over the last few years. So, obviously Anthony, they're coming out in the positive for Gary Schofield's selection. But actually, I agree with that. You know, for too long. I mean, you just mentioned Sculthorpe playing at standoff back in the day to accommodate.
Yeah.
You know, to get both Fowler and Sculthorpe in the team. And actually, one good thing about the one that we're the side that we're looking at there from Gary Schofield's perspective is he's right. Everybody is in the position that they play for their clubs, which for me is the right way to go about it.
Yeah. You can't ask you can ask a player to play out of position at international level because you know if they're good enough they can do it. But we had Kevin Sinfield playing at number 6 at international level, you know, out of position. But yeah, I agree. I'd have Toby King in for Mark Percival.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd have Zach Hardacre in for Sam Tompkins.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, John Bateman, don't put him in the centre. He's far more effective in the second row.
And that's the danger. And that is the danger because I think that, as you're saying there, I think, you know, there's this temptation of putting John Bateman in the centres. There's also a temptation to put Zach Hardacre in the centres. And actually, we've got centres that deserve to play in their preferred position for England.
Exactly. You know, John Bateman did okay, but he didn't do as well as John Bateman can do in the second row. He's a destructive second rower.
Yeah.
So keep him in the second row. Keep players who play week in, week out in that position that they play. And, you know, if we have injuries, if there's an injury in the game, then maybe, you know, if a player's unfortunately injured, then maybe John Bateman could drop into the centres if a centre's injured and we haven't got a back on the bench. But, you know, I'd also start with Darrell Clarke at hooker and bring Hodgson off the bench. Or McShane. I mean, I'd have McShane and Clarke, as we said last week.
I would.
You know, I'd have McShane and Clarke, and I'd interchange the pair of those because although they are quite similar players, both of those running at tired defences could be quite destructive.
Yeah, and I go with people that actually commented on that post for this team. That, you know what, there's not. If that was the opening team to run out for England at the start of the World Cup, I don't think any of us would have too much to say. Albeit, like in Anthony's case, he put King in for Percival. You're saying obviously drop Hodgson, bring McShane in, and I agree. How can the man of steel, and especially the way he started this season as well, not be included? I don't know. But here's an interesting one. Martin Sandler in the League Express. I like his columns. He actually picked a team that for players that hadn't been picked to join up in the training camp, and this was the team. And I've changed a few because a couple got called up. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this was the team that he picked. And like I say, I brought Oliver Partington in because I can't remember who he had at. I think he had Wardle. I think he had Wardle actually at loose forward, but of course he got caught up last minute. So there's just a couple in there. But yeah, I mean that was the team he come up with. And all I would say about that team is, if certainly if Wakefield, Hull KR, Huddersfield had the option of putting that 17 on the field this weekend, I think they'd probably take it, wouldn't they?
That's a strong team, and do you know it does show the actual strength that we do have. Yeah. Which is a good thing, and it's good to see youngsters in there as well. You know, Oliver Partington at Wigan, you know, Morgan Smithies, good youngsters. I mean, McMeekin, I don't think yet he's quite settled into his role at Catalan. He's, and that's going to take time. But if you have McMeekin and Oliver Holmes in the second row, two, you know, one ex-Castleford, one present Castleford, they know how each other play. You know, Liam Watts up front. You know, Liam Watts, I'm surprised he's not there anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I agree.
You know, I'd have him at Warrington in a heartbeat if you're listening. Our new coach.
Yeah, but no, like I say, really, really good side that. So before we move on, because obviously we spoke about England at length last week. So before we move on, obviously we were calling out, you know, of the 35 that he picked, 7 Aussies, they weren't going to be there. I think we counted another 5 or 6 that were injured. Sean Wayne did bring 4 players in. He brought English and Wardle in from Huddersfield, and he brought Aledzki. And he brought Leeming in from Leeds. Now, we just saw Sam Powell's name. That was a head scratcher for me. How on earth? I mean, Cruz Leeming was shown how to be a hooker by Brad Dwyer at the weekend. You know, that just really perplexed me. I didn't quite get that one.
We had this conversation. I'm not sure how many Leeds fans kind of have thought about this, but we had this conversation about Cruz leaving. I'm not convinced by him. As you say, Brad Dwyer came on and almost turned the game.
Well, he did.
In Lee's favour. They were dead and buried. He came on and 2 tries in 5 minutes. Cruz leaving. I don't know. It's like the Blake Austin. It's like picking Blake Austin and putting him on the wing. It's a strange one. It's a strange one. When you say, the kid from Wigan,
Sam
Powell doesn't get in there, and Wayne's the Wigan guy.
Yeah.
It's
just odd. I mean, it's just odd. I mean, it's like the Jake Connor affair. We had that chat. It's just odd. Really, really odd. Didn't get it. Wouldn't even begin to understand. Don't get me wrong. I've got nothing against English. I think Wardle deserved to be one of the 4. Aledski had a great game against Saints.
He did. He played. I was going to say that he really stood up to that. As we again were saying,
exactly.
If you stand up to the Saints, Pat, they don't like it, and he stood up to them.
Yeah. So I got that. Those 2. Yeah, but I mean, how Sam Powell's overlooked for leaving, I really don't know. And anyway, we'll move on from England. I'm sure as the season goes on, there'll be more stories coming out of England. But we also posted on our Facebook page today. England posted a 4-minute video of the training camp with a couple of the England boys talking about what it's been like. If you haven't seen it, go onto our Facebook page, have a quick look at that. You might find that interesting. Right. So let's quickly go around a bit of gossip. And we're going to start with the Cronulla Sharks. So obviously, John Morris as party company, the coach. Interesting, that one. Obviously, Craig Fitzgibbons is going to be going in. Interesting one, though, about John Morris. A lot of talk this week about, well, depending on which article you read, the League Express revealed earlier in the week that Andrew Henderson of Warrington Wolves was leading the race to become Castleford Tigers head coach for next season. Reports last night coming out that Lee Radford has been interviewed for the job and he was the favourite. But now, of course, John Morris is without a club, having been let go by the Cronulla Sharks. Reputation a little bit dented by that. Do we, before a decision's made, do you think Casper might have a quick look at John Morris?
I do hope not, because I'd like to see English coaches stay in the game. Yeah. Andrew Henderson, I had a sneaky feeling that he'd been brought in as Price's assistant to take over the reins when Steve Price went. That's obviously not happened for whatever reason. Andrew Henderson did a real good job at London. I'd like to see him given a chance. And I think, let's not have the I don't want to say easy option, or is it the lazy option of going to Australia? Let's see what our English coaches can do. Radford, that was a dreadful way that Hull got rid of him. That was a shocking
they did straight after the game, wasn't it?
That was absolutely hot, absolutely awful.
I think everybody in the game was disappointed about that as well, wasn't it? It wasn't in the spirit of rugby league, was it?
No, I like Lee Radford. He's a good guy. So let's give an English coach a chance. Yeah. It was interesting that the guy Norris's mum went on Twitter to complain about the way
sending mummy in. That was funny.
That helicopter mum alert.
Dear me. But anyway, here's one for you. We've been reporting this all week on our Facebook page. Staying with Cronulla Sharks. Big rumours, and they're gaining momentum all the time, that Andrew Fafita may be joining his brother at Wakefield.
I've heard this one.
That's been bolstered by Josh Maguire moving to St George Dragons from the Queensland Cowboys, because it was, of course, St George who supposedly may have put a bit of a spanner in the works around that deal. Obviously, they have now filled that position with Josh Maguire. I mean, from a Super League perspective, this would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
The Fafita brothers in there. My God.
Yeah.
I think I'd retire if I was a prop, if I was a forward and I was facing those two, I'd retire the morning of the game.
Absolutely. But we want the best players. I mean, Andrew Fafita, you know, he's been in Origin. You know, he's represented. I think he's represented. Is it both Tonga and Australia? I can't
He
remember.
has, yeah.
I think he has.
Yeah.
But you know, this guy. I mean, this guy's a class act, and
Yeah.
you know, him and his brother would be phenomenal, wouldn't they? For
yeah, if his brother, you know, his brother's had a bit of a toy tie with injuries recently, but if he, you know, as we say, he's one of those David Solomona type players.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is, Wolfie's going to have to buy another mullet. If he signs for Wakefield. But you know, Wakefield, I wouldn't begrudge Wakefield making a signing like that, because
well, they've made room, haven't they? They've made room as well. So you know, I mean, that's going to be interesting. I think I think Wakefield fans would hope that by the end of this week, that could be an announcement, and we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Aidan Caesar continues to be linked with a return to the NRL, but also, and we'll come to this in a minute, included in the squad for this week's must-win game against Hull KR, but we'll talk about that later. Manchester Evening News has reported that St Helens, this is a bit of a surprise, especially the way he's been playing of late. Theo Farges may be leaving St Helens at the end of the season. That and a lot of Saints fans are not happy about that.
Well, yeah, that's a surprise. You know, he's one of those players that goes under the radar. I remember a few years ago, he wasn't first choice, but I can't remember who was. I think Lomax was injured. They came to the Halliwell Jones. They beat us 20-0, I think. And Theo Farge ripped us apart. He was head and shoulders the best player on the park. So, you know, I'd be surprised. You know, he'll get any clues as to where he's going yet?
No, there's no rumours there, but by all accounts, the contract extension is unlikely. Is what's there. However, better news for St Helens is that James Bentley and Regan Grace are very close to signing new contracts with St Helens, and that should be later in the week. Right, other rumours, not good news for Catalan Dragons fans, this one. The Sydney Roosters, obviously, big injury crises. They've lost both of their two halfbacks, first choice halfbacks, albeit Sam Walker looks a talented player from the academy that's been brought in, 18 years of age. Remember that name, Sam Walker, big future in the game.
Is he English?
I don't think he is. Well, I just don't know of a name like that. He could be. I'll have to
He could be English, couldn't he?
We'll check on that in a sec. But actually, reports coming out of the NRL that they're sniffing around James Maloney of the Catalan Dragons as a fix for that.
And you wouldn't be surprised, would you, if he went back? I mean, the thing that James Maloney's got to think about is he just a short-term fix? Will he be left without a club at the end of the season when their first choice comes back? Will he be kicking his heels on the bench? It'd be a shame to lose a player like that from Super League. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player.
Couldn't agree with you more. And actually, in answer to your question, I just had a quick look. Yes, Sam Walker was born in Leeds. So
there you go.
Great shout, mate. I hadn't even thought of that. So Sam Walker, Sydney Roosters, born in Leeds. Keep your eye out and ear open around that young lad. What a player he is. Right. Zero Tackle is reported that Adam Reynolds could be swapped with Luke Brooks of the West Tigers in a sensational swap deal at the end of the season. And Cronulla Sharks are also interested, but who wouldn't be, in Adam Reynolds at the end of the season. I think it's unlikely he's coming to Super League, if I'm being honest. And Gareth Widdop has also been linked with Cronulla as well, so at the end of the season. So be interesting to see which of those players. Well,
Widdop will be going back with the Man of Steel title under his belt, so you know.
Well, we'll see about that. In terms of going back to Castleford Tigers, reports that they will not be happy with. Big hints in the Rugby League press this week that obviously Peter Matautia is out of contract at the end of the season. A lot of concern at Castleford that he may follow Darryl Powell to Warrington. And also a lot of comments being made around Jake Truman as well. Castleford won't be wanting to lose either of those two, will they?
No, that the Jake Truman rumour is one of that was touted around the time that Darryl Powell announced he was leaving the club and the rumour started. The Jake Truman rumour kind of grew apace with the Darryl Powell rumour. Matautia, solid. He was one of those. If I'm mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was one of those players that teams kept kind of mopped up from other teams when we were in the Super Eights and the Middle Eights, wasn't he? We got Peter Hiku, I think, and they got Matautia. And he's done a good job for Castleford. I think he's played at fullback, centre. I think he's played on the wing as well, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure Cas fans will correct me on that one. Yeah. If we sign him, what does it mean for Ratchford? We've got Matty Ashton, we've got Ratchford at a potential fullbacks. If we sign Matautia, would he be a replacement for Greg Inglis in the centres?
Well, I think the logical one is, of course, Blake Austin's out of contract, so everybody's going to be looking, I think, with great interest there. What's happening with Blake Austin at the end of this season? If Austin was to sign, maybe that'd be a relief for Castleford Tigers fans. But as long as Blake Austin has not signed a contract at Warrington, I think that those rumours may continue.
Maybe, and push Ratchford into number 6 or 7. Number 6, maybe with Widdop. If Widdop goes,
I think Widdop will definitely go. Right, back to, and then finally fact. Lee been very, very busy the last few weeks. Anthony Gelling, formerly, of course, of Warrington, Wigan and Widnes, he's on his way to Lee, as is Josh Sim, the young talent out of St. Helens, going back there on loan. Gelling, of course, signed loan signing Josh Sim, both, of course, centres. Nathan Peets got off the mark for Lee in Challenge Cup defeat against Huddersfield. Obviously, Reynolds as well. They've been really busy. And, of course, the likes of Flower coming back as well from injury. Good signings, those two, I think, for Lee.
I think so. I mean, Gelling, again, he took a lot of criticism from certain Warrington fans, and he is prone to the odd error. But when he's on form, he's a good centre. He's a good player. They loved him at Widnes. Absolutely adored him at Widnes. So I believe.
And he did a job for Wigan. When he was at Wigan, he did a job at Wigan. He did.
I mean, I'm sure Widnes fans will correct me if I'm wrong, but he was well liked at Widnes. He was a man of the people at Widnes. Yeah, strange one. Obviously, there are certain things in his private life that are still hanging over him.
Steady.
But as I say, certain things. So we won't
allegedly. Thank you. Right. We'll move
anyway,
swiftly on.
Moving on.
Challenge Cup. Let's go to the Challenge Cup third round. No giant killings. A shame that. Obviously, we've got an all Super League lineup in the quarterfinals. What we'll do is we'll just go through each game very quickly. Catalans 26, Wakefield 6. First half was competitive. Dragons led at 8-6 at half time. Chris Chester. Now, depressingly, 7 wins from the last 31 games, but still in post. Steve McNamara. Well, actually, no, we'll stay with Wakefield. Chester's surprised that he has hung on.
We did say, didn't we? Or I did say that if they lost, he might be clinging on by his fingernails. They've got St. Helens this week. Now, it would be unfair if Saints. As most people might expect, if Saints win that and win it quite comfortably, I think it would be unfair to sack him after a defeat against St. Helens, or to get rid of him after a defeat against St. Helens.
It'll be the manner, though. The manner of the defeat. I mean,
if it's embarrassing, If it's embarrassing, maybe. But I think maybe, if he might have a couple of weeks left. Wakefield obviously is not one of those clubs that gets rid of their managers on a whim, and after a few defeats gets rid of the coach. Sorry, we call them coaches, not managers in Rugby League, either the coaches. So Rugby League has a reputation, or a lot of Rugby League clubs have a reputation for being patient with coaches. It depends when Wakefield's patience runs out. It also depends who's out there that could replace him. And maybe that's what
we said. Brian Noble, not Brian Noble. Sorry, John Keir, wasn't it? John Keir at Bradford obviously came into Pelters last week, but we'll keep an eye on that. On the flip side, Catalan, 3 wins from 3. Of course, Huddersfield, KR, and now Trinity in the cup, all beaten. Steve McNamara. Delighted, I'm sure, with the start that they have made. Tompkins is playing well. There's no question about that. He is playing well. But so too, I've been very impressed with Tom Davis. I think Drinkwater's having a good season. We just spoke briefly about Mike McMeekin, and Ben Garcia as well. Ben Garcia's had a storming start to the season. So Catalan doing well.
Yeah. The argument could be made they've not played any of the so-called top four yet. So they've had a relatively comfortable start, and that again is no disrespect to the teams they've played. No. Yes, I did expect Huddersfield to beat them, but I'd be interested to see how they go against Wigan, against Saints.
Well, they've got Warrington in 2 weeks' time, haven't they?
Yeah,
I think they've got Salford this week. They've got Warrington in a couple of weeks' time. So
I expect them to beat Salford. I do expect them to beat Salford. Warrington.
We'll come to predictions. We'll come to predictions later. Featherstone 14, Hull FC 34. 3 wins on the spin now for Hull. I have to say, congratulations to Featherstone Rovers. Second half, they nilled Hull. They won the second half 10-0. So credit to Featherstone. And I think you mentioned Swinton. We'll get on to York City Knights in a moment. I think as much as there's no championship club in the quarterfinal, they didn't do themselves any harm. Some of these clubs, I thought they were very competitive. Griffin and Timavari, continue to catch the eye in that game for FC. But Brett Hodgson, after the game, for the first time, a little bit disappointed. He felt that they were a little bit off against recent form, but he was quoted as saying, "We got the result, and that is the most important thing. Staying in the hat is the most important thing." But
yes, it is. Of course, it is.
All doing well, and of course, without their first 2 halfbacks as well in that game.
Yes, exactly. And Featherstone scored in the first couple of minutes. To put the cat amongst the pigeons. Yeah,
that was a great try. Highcastle's try was a great try.
Yeah, it was a great try. But it's the cup, and teams raise the game in cup games. So Swinton raised the game, Featherstone raised the game. It's just unfortunate that there were no shocks. I mean, we all took witness, didn't we, against Salford? How wrong could we be?
Yeah. Absolutely.
No,
we're coming to that one. We're coming to that one. Hull, obviously, Hull KR 32, Castleford 33. Tragedy that this wasn't on terrestrial telly, because what a game this would have been. I've already said the reason why I put them as my team of the week. I've already mentioned McShane. Hull KR, they got Huddersfield this week. To be 32 points to 18 up, it's going to be interesting to see their reaction against Huddersfield. But KR at the moment, they've had a couple of, with the exception of the Saints game. Was it Wigan? Can't remember. Was it Saints or Wigan that all came?
Saints, I think. Saints,
wasn't it? Apart from the Saints game where they were blown away. The first 2 games they have been. They put the scares on Catalan. They put the scares on Castleford. So it's not that they're not competitive. But three defeats from 3 is going to be a cause for concern, isn't it?
Yeah, but 3 defeats from 3, and has it been a point for 2 of them?
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
They could have been looking at 2 wins from 3.
Yeah.
Should have been looking at 2 wins from 3 because they should have beat Castleford. You've got to be a bit worried if you're a KR fan that they're losing games that they're looking comfortable in. A couple of weeks ago we were saying you should be optimistic because you've come back, but you've got to be worried as a KR fan. You've got to string together more than 40 minutes of football to win a game. Did I just say football?
Rugby League football, absolutely.
Rugby. I'm sounding like an Aussie.
We come on to Leigh Centurions. Leigh Centurions 18, Huddersfield 36. Huddersfield obviously boosted by Jake Wardle's return, and that's a confidence-enhancing win that for Huddersfield.
It is.
Because I expected that one to be close. I thought Leigh, good debut for Pete. Reynolds continues. Again, I think he's doing all right for Leigh. We've talked about the reinforcements that are coming. Joe Duffy, though, on the other hand, didn't pull any punches. He said it was horrendous. It wasn't good enough. Ian Watson, on the other hand, he said it was obviously a better performance, one that was going to, in his eyes, it's been building. And I think both of the 2 coaches talked about the first 20 minutes. Obviously, Watson delighted with the first 20 minutes. Joe Duffy not so much. But from a Huddersfield, I mean, a lot of pundits, you as well, felt that Huddersfield could be one to watch this year.
Yeah,
I needed that.
They did, and I still think they will. We're very early in the season, and my tip leads showed that there are no pushovers against Saints when the chips are down. I did, like yourself. I thought that might have been a little bit closer the way Huddersfield had been playing and Lee's performance in the first game. But yeah, I think Huddersfield I think they both needed a good performance, and I think Huddersfield will take great heart from that. Again, if I was a Leaf fan, I'd be a little bit concerned. Yes, they brought some good signings in. It depends how quickly they gel and how quickly they get the moves and put it together.
Do you know what I mean? If I'm a Leaf fan, I mean, I've seen Lee now first couple of weeks, first three games of the season, and I think even the most optimistic Leaf fan knew that this season was probably going to be a relegation battle. I think the fact that they're out of the cup probably is a blessing, because I think that they need to try and remain in Super League. And actually, with the reinforcements that come in, that's not beyond the realms. And I've seen competitiveness. Again, that first game against Wigan, very, very good. Warrington, to be fair, blew them away. But again, they were in the arm wrestle with Huddersfield. They've now got reinforcements coming. I think once we're maybe 3, maybe 4 rounds down the line, it might be interesting to see where Lee is. Have they managed to pick up some points at that point? But we'll see.
Yeah, you could be right. It's just, as I say, how quickly do those players gel with the way it works? How quickly do they gel with teammates? They can either click, or it can either take a while, and if it takes a while, will it then become too late? Same with Salford. I think Salford probably made too many changes in the off-season.
Yeah. Well, we're coming on to Salford now. But before we do, again, we've got quite a few people watching us. So hello to you. We don't know who you are. Say hello. Put your name in the chat. Let us know what your thoughts are on anything that we're discussing. It's great to have you along for the ride this evening. Salford. That's where we are now. Salford 68. Widnes Vikings. Remind me. I've not wrote it down. I know they scored a couple. 4. Yeah, they scored 4, didn't they? But big win.
Couple, mate.
Yeah, big win that for Salford, and the fact that last week I was talking about I think Richie Marshall came out last week, if I recall, and said that he was disappointed with the discipline. And I said if I was Richie Marshall, I'd be more concerned about where the points were going to come from. And here they are, 68 points to 4. I think Escaré coming in was a big bonus. Patton didn't look out of place. And I don't know if you saw it, Greg, but Matty Costello on debut for Salford. Big shout out to Matty Costello. 2 tries, an assist. Played really well, the kid. Really well.
Yeah, that's a good. He's a good player. I think he's probably going to be. He's probably kind of might be the surprise package for Salford this season. Yeah, I mean, Widnes fans, what do you think? We tipped you actually. I think both of us tipped this as the shock of the round, the way Salford have been playing. Yeah. And to concede 60-odd points. Come on, Widnes fans, what do you think about that? You must be concerned at that.
Absolutely. Well, they go to Dewsbury this week, and Dewsbury got off to a winning start against Whitehaven in round 1. So, Widnes, Dewsbury, a game that Widnes for me. We wish you well, Widnes fans. Dewsbury Rams, good luck to you. We're in your corner, but Widnes, come on, a team of your heritage, and this is it, isn't it? If there's one bad thing about the modern game, is the fact that the up and coming young players, people who play for that badge, and I think Widnes have probably brought in players, Gelling being one, even though Gelling did well for Widnes. Is he really going to give his all for Widnes? And that, I don't know. I know it well, but you know what I mean. Whereas,
I do.
That identity, Widnes are a mass. I mean, in terms of rugby league heritage, Widnes are a huge and respected name in the rugby league. As a Bradford, and these two teams, the players that play for these two teams, they need to respect that badge on the shirt, don't they?
Yeah, and I think Super League's a poorer place without Widnes and Bradford. I really do, and that is no disrespect to any of the other teams that are in there. Bradford have always had a strong side. Widnes, the Cup Kings from the 70s, World Club champions in 89, I think it was. I'll never forget that try from Jonathan Davis at Central Park where he almost got snapped in 2. Never mind scoring. I don't know how he walked again after that tackle. That was just unbelievable.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Well, you're talking Jonathan Davis there, Widnes, and you could name team with Widnes players in the past. Same with Bradford, the Ivana Colos of this world, etc. These are huge clubs. They've had massive players play for them. Come on, start playing for the badge. Right, St. Helens, Leeds. We've spoke about this one, I think, at length. I think the only thing that I would add, Dwyer, we've raved about. Richard Agar said it was a magnificent effort. I think we'd agree with that. Kristen Wolf, not happy, thought they were pretty sloppy. He actually questioned, a lack of respect once the sending off had happened, and that, allowed Leeds back into the game. But actually, the only thing I want to add to this, and it'd be interesting if there's anything you want to add to that game, is I just want to pay special tribute to the kid that continues to play beyond his years. I mentioned it in commentary. That pass from Jack Wellsby to Regan Grace. Jack Wellsby, player this kid looks like he's going to be.
Yeah. Is he English? I'll ask that question.
He is.
Yes. Well, get him in the squad if he's not in there. He's he's filled in for Lachlan Coote for the last 2 weeks. So been asked to play perhaps out of position and didn't let anybody down. Didn't let anybody down. So.
Really good. And do you know what? I've got to say it. I can't remember who we picked. I think I might have picked St Helens for the Shield. I know I picked Wigan for the grand final. But I have to say, on the first 3 rounds, I don't see any other team picking up the League Leaders Shield than St Helens. They look very impressive. When you see a starting two of Walmsley and Lees, and then you look at the bench and you've got Parsi, Amors on there. Louis McCarthy, Scarsbrook is on there. You're thinking, oh dear, you've still got person to come back.
But as I said on Saturday, if you're willing to stand up to them and bully them back,
which Leeds did.
Which Leeds did.
First 15 minutes. We both were worried for Leeds when Saints took that early lead, but Leeds, to credit, came back, and then to come back again like they did when Brad Dwyer come on. Obviously, Tavano given a 4-match ban by the Rugby Football League. I think that was very, very harsh.
Listen, mate. I don't know whether we're going to discuss this later on, but Tom Lynham, 3 games for that. Really?
Yeah.
If that's a 3-game ban, the RFL should just change the shape of the ball, cut the number of players to 11, and rename themselves the Football Association. I'm sorry, that is not a 3-game ban. I
think for me, certain players have a reputation, and it goes before them at times. But Tetevano, I mean, look, slowing down. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Anybody watching that game, it was a little bit late, and do you know what? He went into that challenge full-blooded.
We both said he'd get a red.
This is okay. This isn't ice hockey. This isn't volleyball. It isn't netball. This is rugby league. He got a red card, which I think was the right decision on the day. I don't think anybody would argue with that.
Yeah.
But a 4-match ban, dearie me. I'm sorry. I've got complete sympathy there. And actually, this guy, alongside Pryor, I think Tetevano, for me, I mean, he's made one of our teams I think he made our team around 2. This guy has been fantastic for Leeds. And again, we want the best talent. This is again something else that the Rugby Football League have got to look at. For me, do I feel that there was any real intent to seriously injure Theo Farges? Absolutely not. It was a full-blooded challenge. I get it, and it was dangerous. It was from behind, and I get all the reasons for it. But we want the best players playing Super League rugby every week. Tetevano has been sensational, and surely we're a sport that we've got to renegotiate Sky rights to. We need these players on the field.
Yeah. And you know what? If Tom Lyman pushing a guy out of the way who steps in front of him is 3 games, and that Tetevano is 10 games.
Yeah, crazy.
Crazy. And the cynic in me would say, who do Leeds play this week?
Wigan. Anyway, so I don't know what you mean. We'll go to Warrington. Obviously, you mentioned Tom Lynham. Swinton, fair play, led it at 1 point, 8 points to 4. Steve Price, I think there's more questions than answers in this game, quite frankly. Toby King continues to excel. I think Toby King has picked up where he left off from last year. Sorry, Blake Austin off the mark. But again, Greg, all bar the Walker try under the post. Every try coming down the left-hand side for Warrington.
Yeah, and
start to develop the right-hand side.
And what disturbs me about that right-hand side is Josh Charlie making careless errors.
Yeah.
Tom Lynham will be missing for 3 games. So if Matty Ashton is fit enough, because I think he was hearing bells when he was taken off the pitch on Sunday. Yeah. If he's fit enough, Matty Ashton will fit in. Do you know what? I think it may well do Josh Charlie good to be dropped. He 2 games out of 3. He looked good against Lee. We actually used the right hand side against Lee, and it looked strong.
Yeah.
But again, the right hand side was weak against Swinton. Some silly errors.
I think when you're playing again, but this is it, isn't it? You're playing a team like Swinton, and your right hand side hasn't scored a try against. I mean, and there's no disrespect to Swinton; they played well and they've been given a lot of plaudits. But from a Warrington perspective, that worries me. That really worries me, because against a team like Swinton, surely at some point you've got to score on the right hand edge, and I just think that's a concern. York City Knights, Wigan, Greg, 26 points to 0. I think like Warrington, I think the interesting thing for Wigan and for Warrington, I don't think the margins are what the fans would have expected. I think they'd have expected larger margins.
Yeah.
Adrian Lamb came out and said he was really disappointed. He said it was one of those games where he couldn't wait for it to end. It couldn't come soon enough. Very frustrated with the discipline. And I think these 2 results for me, the Warrington result and the Wigan result, actually makes the Salford result look more impressive.
I agree. Yeah. Was it a case of complacency for Warrington Wigan? I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful.
Yeah.
Warrington have been bitten on the backside by that complacency before at Wembley against Catalan.
Yeah.
Is it a case of complacency? Is it a case of a team raising the game? Which again, I don't want to be disrespectful to Swinton and York. We'll see. If Swinton and York are there or thereabouts at the end of the season, then they prove they're good teams, and they weren't one-off performances. Yeah. That's the thing for teams like Swinton and York now. I think Swinton got beat by Oldham the week before, didn't they? It played like that every week.
Yeah. 28-20 they got beat.
Yeah. So a narrow defeat. I mean, Oldham's not an easy place to go.
The watershed day. There's memories for you. I always remember Kevin Ellis scoring in the Challenge Cup. I can't remember what round it was, but it was a very cold night at the watershed.
Fourth round, I think. The coldest.
That was cold. That was a cold night. I remember that.
Yeah.
Right, quarterfinals then. Let's just quickly look at the quarterfinals. They of course have been drawn, and this is how they look. Let's just hopefully you can see that, Greg. Can you see that?
Certainly can, sir.
Fantastic. So all good games, but 2 mouth-watering games for me. Hull FC, Wigan, I think that's going to be a belter. Really looking forward to that. These are being played on the 7th and the 8th of May, 2 double headers, 1 on the Friday, 1 on the Saturday, all being televised, 2 on Sky, 2 on the BBC, which is fantastic. Leeds Headingley is being announced this evening as the venue that will host the 4 quarterfinals. But Hull FC, Wigan, Castleford take on Salford. The other good game, Catalan Warrington for me. Even those are the 2, Hull FC, Wigan, Catalan Warrington. Really looking forward to that. I can't see Castleford. I can't see past St Helens for the other 2. But based on current form, Hull Wigan should be a belter. Catalan Warrington should be a belter.
It should be, yeah. And you know what? I fancy Hull for that.
Yeah.
I do fancy Hull for that. So there you go, Wigan. That's your semi-final place book.
No, I genuinely think if they can get Reynolds back, if they can get Sneed Reynolds back in the halves and be something like full strength, Wigan are going to absolutely have their handful. That's a draw that Wigan wouldn't have wanted. And Warrington will be. I think Warrington will have it tough against Catalan on present form as well.
Yeah, if there were teams to avoid in that draw, and again, I don't want to sound disrespectful to anybody, but you'd want to avoid Hull, Wigan, Saints, and quite possibly Castleford in that draw.
Yeah.
In a couple of weeks, how many weeks away from that? We're 3 weeks.
Not
3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. 2 to 3 weeks away, isn't it? It's not far off that.
Yeah, teams have got a chance to play into some form.
Yeah,
there's always the worry about injuries, but on present form, you're right. The Hull Wigan game is the closest, and I would just tip Hull. I think at present, Castleford, you'd have to say, would beat Salford.
Yeah.
Saints would beat Huddersfield. If the game against Catalan was being held in France, I would have to worry about Warrington. I still think that Catalan might edge that and that hurts to say as a Warrington fan.
It's going to be a big one. I think those two games, I think they could be, dare I say it, in the, you would hope, in the same ilk as the KR Cast game and the Leeds Saints game from this week. Right, we're racing. It's already 3 minutes to 9, and we've still got round 3 to look at for Super League. So let's remind ourselves of the first 2 rounds before we do that. So this is where we left Super League, of course. St Helens top 5 teams on 100%. At this moment in time. Then, of course, Warrington and Leeds with a win and a loss to their name. And then, of course, the rest who are yet to get off and running. In terms of where we left Super League, Jake Bibby, top of the Sky try-scoring charts with 5. And then we've got Regan Grace, Ryan Hall, Jordan Turner and Toby King. And, of course, Josh Reynolds all on 3. In terms of try assists, Theo Farges, again, St Helens fans disappointed at the moment that he may be let go at the end of the season. The most try assists in Super League at this point. Willie Isidare, of course, Wiggin, Jake Connor, Tompkins, Truman, Curry, Evels and Miller are all doing great jobs there for their respected sides. Hard meters, you mentioned Zach Hardacre, currently the top meter man in Super League with 394, averaging over 10 metres a drive, 38 carries. Tom Davis obviously helped by a couple of his length of the field efforts. Carlos Tumaveri at Hull, we mentioned him earlier on, 362, certainly no slouch. Liam Farrell, of course, currently played 1 game second row, 1 game centre, 356. And Josh Griffin, who's having a great season for Hull, 331 metres for him. So those are the picks from there. We then come to top tacklers, Elijah Taylor, who is, of course, currently injured. But, you know, what an impact he's had defensively for Salford, 113. There's Sam Powell, not looked at by England. We've spoke about that. Ben Garcia, 92. Danny Houghton and Alex DaCosta in the top tacklers. And, of course, the players of the round. So what we've done here is we've had a quick look. After 2 rounds, Sam Tompkins leads the Man of Steel. In second place, Jake Truman. In joint third place, Jake Connor, Josh Reynolds and Zach Hardacre. And there are 8 players tied with 3 points in the Man of Steel race. In the Albert Goldthorpe medal, again, it's Tompkins and Jake Connor who lead for that. In joint second is Paul McShane, Johnny Lomax and Sam Powell with 5 tied on 3 points. So we'll keep an eye on that. So there's some of the names that are leading the runners, leading the running for those 2 prestigious awards come at the end of the season. So what I've done very, very quickly is I've just looked at, well, let's see if we can get a current team of the round on there, and that's what I've got. That is what I've got. This is the first 2 rounds of Super League. What do you make of that as a team of the first and second round, Greg?
Yeah, I can't argue with that at all, mate. Not at all. All playing really well. I mean, they're going to get a restraining order out on us if we keep talking about Matt Pryor. But the guy's been awesome. Yeah. I mean, how he didn't get man of the match on Saturday in that cup game is beyond me. You know, Parsley played well, but Matt Pryor was absolutely immense. He tackled, he ran his blood to water, he tackled everything that moved. He smashed Walmsley, he smashed that he smashed that Saints front row. Come on, I mean, you know, there will be a restraining order out if I carry on like this. But same with Oliver Holmes, Ben Curry. Back it. You know, when Ben Curry's on form, there is no finer second row in the competition, and I'll stand by that. Anybody can throw names at me. When Ben Curry is on form, there is no finer second row in the competition. I can't argue with any of that. Jake Bibby. Yeah.
Well, that's how it panned out. Obviously, I looked at the first 2 rounds, looked at all the stats, took into account the way that the players have been playing as well. Some were absolute shoo-ins. Obviously, there'll be a few in there that you think it was close. Sam Tompkins, Jake Connor at fullback was a close call without question. You talk about Theo Farges, talk about Lomax at St Helens, could have easily have been in there. But actually, not a million miles off. We'll post that this week on our on our Facebook page, and we'll see what people think. But certainly every one of those playing well, and quite a few on the fringes as well. So we're about to go into round 3. Before we do, this is where we left round 2. We did our first predictions. They were the predictions at the top, and the league looks like this. So the Super League Raw fans, Luke Bake was a Cass fan. He did the predictions last time around for the fans. The fans lead on 21 points. Just to remind people how we're doing this, if you get the correct team, then you get 2 points. But if you get the correct team and the score, that is replaced with 5 points. So 21 points for Super League fans. I got 18. Greg, at the moment, you're on 14 going into this week. So with that in mind, let's just take a quick look at the fixtures. Leeds Rhinos take on Wigan. Wigan 100% record. Of course, Leeds 50%. Castleford Tigers, Leeds Centurions 100% takes on 0%. St Helens the same against Wakefield. Then the game that really, Hull KR and Huddersfield fans will be looking at. That is a must-win for both of those two. Catalan Dragons take on Salford Red Devils. And of course, to finish off the round, Hull FC will be taking on the Warrington Wolves. So with that in mind, Greg, we'll come back to me and you. We'll kick off with Leeds against Wigan. This is tomorrow night on Sky. Kick off 7:45. Liam Byrne, of course, out for one match for Wigan, banned by the Rugby Football League. Somebody's going to have to
No.
But he won't be playing because of his concussion, courtesy of Parsi. Luke Gale's still out. But Kyle Eastman is expected to play this game. Big rumours coming out of Leeds today that he's expected to play this match. Liam Sutcliffe, potentially a doubt due to his knee, and Bodine Thompson, should I say, also a doubt with his ribs. So Kyle Eastman could be debuting. Wigan, no major problems for them going into this game. Prediction, and how do you see it going?
I think probably tight first 10, 15, but I can't see beyond Wigan for this one, unfortunately. I think we might see the Lee effect with this one. The fact they ran Saints so close on Saturday, I think the emotional toll on that. I can see Wigan by 18 to 20. I think about 20 points.
So you're on 18 plus. Okay.
18 plus, yeah.
Right. So I mentioned
sorry, Leeds fans. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be fine with that. Do you know what? Really bad form with this. I've forgotten his name. It's Martin Naylor. I'm sure his name's Martin Naylor, but I want to get it right. Yes, it is Martin Naylor. He's a St Helens fan, one of our Super League Raw members. And Martin said that he saw this as Wigan between 0 and 8. I actually see Wigan between 9 and 17. So all of us going Wigan, but all going by different scorelines in that one, which is going to be quite interesting. We move on to Tigers against Lee. Lee will welcome the return of Joe Mellor and James Bell for this game. And Josh Sim is in the squad. Anthony Gelling is not. Blake Wallace, the finest mullet in Super League, is unavailable. Yeah, he's took a head knock. Yeah, he's not going to be there.
Postpone the game for a week, mate. We've got to have the finest mullet in Super League playing.
He's not there. He's got a head knock. He's gonna miss this one. Jamie Ellis, Junior Sow, and Matty Russell expected not to be there. And in terms of Castleford, the only interesting one here is that Danny Richardson is not in the squad, and by all accounts, no mention of an injury there. So it could be a drop. Sam Hall comes in to replace him. But the Tigers, great start to the season. How do you see this one going?
I just can't see anything for Lee, unfortunately. Again, I apologise to Lee fans, and maybe they'll prove me wrong. But again, I can see Castleford 18 plus on this one. I think that, too strong. Lee have got too many new players coming in. Not maybe had a lot of time to adjust to systems, etc., as coaches say. So I think Castleford 18 plus.
Rightio. Martin has gone Tigers 18 plus, the same as you. I've actually put Tigers by 9 to 17. My thought process behind that is obviously 99 minutes of rugby league played against Hull KR. That's going to fatigue, maybe a little bit of fatigue. I still think Tigers win it, but maybe not by the 18 points. So You and the Super League Fans Forum representative Martin agreeing on that one. Now, the big one for me, 2 0% coming head to head. Hull KR taking on the Huddersfield Giants. Caesar in the squad, may play. I don't think he will, but he may play. Golden still out. Greenwood, of course, still serving his ban. And also talk, a bit of a surprise this, considering that he went to the training camp. Thought that Joe Waddle might miss this one as well. But anyway, Hull KR Huddersfield. One of them he's going to get off the mark. Who's it going to be?
I think Huddersfield.
Yeah.
And I think 9-17.
Okay. So you're going 9-17 for Huddersfield as well.
Yeah.
So got it. Okay. Martin has said the Giants by no more than 8, so 0-8. Just to be contentious, I'm going to go KR. I'm going to go KR 0-8. I think it's going to be a tight game.
It's so awkward.
I'm going to stick. Yeah, but it's a bit of fun. I'm going to
stick
my neck out.
Stop it.
Sticking my neck out. I've got a bit of a points cushion against you. I'm gonna have a bit of fun.
No, Dave, nobody likes to show off, mate. Nobody likes to show off.
Mate, I won't be there at the end of the season. Don't worry about that.
You're not. Where will I be?
God knows. All I would say is that the fans forum representatives shouldn't find this too challenging. Right, Saints and Wakefield. Saints taking on Wakefield. Matautia is out for Saints with concussion. Unlikely that they're going to bring Percival back for this one. You know, we talked about the strength in depth for Saints. Morgan knows he's still out injured. I mean, dearie me. Matty Lee's ankle, he's not going to be in this game either. And Aaron Smith also out. Wakefield, Tanginoa, he's out for his match ban against Wakefield. Jowett out. Johnston, right? Listen, before you just talk to me about this one before you give me your prediction. So we've had 3 games in Super League, and in games 1 and 3, Tom Johnson has had concussion. That's got to be a concern.
Yeah, is he playing?
No, he's expected to miss out. Now, again, he took a head knock at the weekend in the Challenge Cup. It's expected that Tom Johnson might not make this game. But like I say, you know, to have concussion in round 1 and now in the Challenge Cup, that's got to be a concern.
Yeah, I mean, is he being targeted?
Well, it's that, but also it's the fact that he's. I mean, look, all Super League players are tough lads, but. That would worry me. You know, in 3 rounds of rugby league, game 1 and game 3, my winger's got concussion, and not just that. You know, there's a lot of talk now around concussion in the game. You know, surely the medical people have got to be looking at that, going, there just seems something quite odd about that. He's either very unlucky or there's something not right about it.
Well, in either way, you got to make the lad wear a hat, haven't you, next time he plays?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cap, definitely.
At the very least, it'll keep the heat in, won't it?
It's Wakefield. It's cold.
Always cold. Right, Saints then. How do you see this one? I think I know where you're going to go, but go on.
Yeah, easy win for Wakefield, this, mate. No. Do you know what? Watch him win now. I think it's St Helens 18+ again. I apologise, Wakefield fans, but
yeah,
you know, I can't see that being you know, in the past. Fair play to Wakefield. They've shocked a few teams.
Yeah.
I think they've beaten Saints a couple of times over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Can't see that happening this time. Even with the missing personnel for Saints.
No, I agree.
And that's 18+ for Saints, I think.
So just quickly going back to the KR Huddersfield game, that's the live game on Sky on Friday. I forgot to mention that. I've gone the same, and so's Martin, 18+ for Saints. And then we come to Saturday's game, again on Sky, 4:45. The Catalan Dragons in great form, like we've said, taking on the Salford Red Devils, coming off a very big win. No fresh injury concerns, again, for Catalan. Again, that's good for them. I mean, I think round 2, Challenge Cup, and now again round 3, no problems there. Salford, still no Joe Burgess, no Greg Burke. Danny Addy still going to be out with a hip. Elijah Taylor, that's a big blow. He's not going to be there. Neither is going to be Dan Sargentson. Where do you see this one going?
I have to say Catalan.
Yeah.
And I have to say 18+ again.
Okay.
I think quite possibly the first half might be quite tight because I think, you know, Catalan seems to have difficulty in stringing 2 40 minutes together.
Yeah.
I think quite possibly that the first half could be quite tight. But I think Catalan by 18, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, fair enough. We both myself and Martin have gone Catalan by 9-17 on that one. And then finally, great game, should be on telly. Absolute shocker. I mean, all of these games, of course, I believe are there to stream on our league. But Hull FC, Warrington Wolves, massive game, this one. Line him out for 3 matches. Reynolds still out for Hull. That's a big blow for them. Late checks expected on Mark Sneed and Manu Meu. He's also going to have a late check on him for Hull FC. This is a proper coin toss, I think. But go on, where do you see it?
I will never bet against my home team. And I do have one of those feelings that people expect Hull to win this.
Yeah.
And I think because Reynolds is out and because I think Sneed might not be 100%,
yeah,
is Connor back for this one?
Believe so. Connor's expected to play.
Connor, he may not be 100% though.
Yeah.
We have the added advantage that Matty Ashton may be on the wing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go, do you know what? I am going to go with my heart instead of my head on this one. I'm going to go for Warrington, but I'm going to go 0-8.
Which is exactly the way that Martin saw it.
Yeah.
Cole, I don't know. Do you know what? I don't know why I'm saying this. I'm even as I'm looking at it thinking, God, this is brave. I'm going to go Wire 9-17. I don't know why. Don't know why, because I've been raving about Hull this year. I think they're a tremendous outfit. But something is just telling me that perhaps, again, we saw it in round 2 where they bounced back from the disappointment of Castleford. I think that game against Swinton, there's a lot of disappointment in the camp around that. I think they should have done a lot better. I think that, again, had another flea in the ear. Not that they should need that to perform. And I just get this feeling, don't know why, I just get this feeling that maybe Warrington will gel for this one and maybe it'll be 9-17. But we'll...
I did toy with 9-17. I have to say, Dave, I think 0-8 though is
it's going to be tight, I think. I think it's probably not a million miles off, to be honest.
I think Hull have a real problem with Blake Costin. They don't know how to play him. Now, maybe they've learnt from past seasons, but Blake Costin usually has a field day against Hull. And again, the Hull fans may disagree with me and want to put in the chat, and yeah, fair play. But Blake Costin performs against Hull and has done. He has a tendency to perform against Hull and Wigan. Blake Costin.
Yeah.
Widdop, man of steel, elect. Had a rest at the weekend.
As did Cooper.
Blake Cooper.
Of course, Cooper went to the training camp. I mean, and again, that's a bonus for Hull because Hull didn't have any players, which is just like.
Is that a bonus? Well,
yeah, because they've been able to play. They've been able to train as a team all week. So I think that is probably a bonus. Whereas if you look at Warrington, Dower Clark, Toby King, Cooper. Stefan Ratchford, some strike players there, not there this week for Warrington for 24-48.
Psychologically, though, is it a psychological boost for those players? I think we've been picked for the England camp.
Maybe
that may spur Hull. That may spur Hull on.
Maybe.
But yeah, that was. I think the whole Warrington one is the closest by a long way around.
Yeah.
My head, if I was thinking about it logically, would say Hull.
Yeah, form says Hull, but
I can't, your heart has got to say Warrington when you're a Warrington fan.
Should be an absolutely fantastic game, and yes, it is one certainly to stream without.
And
doubt.
I can't understand why it's not on TV, mate. No. I cannot understand that.
No, and again, Sky, and I know they've got to be fair. And I think the Hull KR Huddersfield game will be a great game. I do, based on the fact that they both lost the first 2 games. Will it be as high a calibre a game as Hull Warrington? Probably not. But it'll be a good game of rugby league, and I get all of that. But I think that when you see, you see it in football all the time where the schedule changes. When there's when form dictates, Sky and BT, they often add an extra game in there because I think actually this needs to be on the telly. I think the whole Warrington game deserves to be on the telly. But
listen, mate, if it was football and United are playing Liverpool,
It's on the side.
Will Sky not show it and play the Fulham Crystal Palace game instead? No.
Well, this is it, isn't it? But anyway, it should be a belter, and we'll see what happens there. So, I mean, again, slightly over. Apologies for that. Fantastic chat. Loads of rugby on the TV. Right. Just quickly go through where we are. We've said where the Super League games are going to be. Again, the Championship games, I believe, as well, are all to stream on our league for the Championship fans out there. NRL on Sky, good game on Friday morning as the Melbourne Storm take on the Sydney Roosters. That's at 5-11 on Sky Arena. Should be a great game. That both really impressive last week, and again we get to see the Leeds man Sam Walker, don't we? Morris brothers on fire as well for the Roosters. The Morris brothers, phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
And then a double header on Saturday. Double header. Rabbitohs take on the West Tigers at 8:30 in the morning. Bunnies now unbeaten in 4 rounds. Fantastic. And Canberra Raiders take on the Parramatta Eels, and that's at 25 to 11. Eels suffered their first defeat last week to the Dragons 26-12, whilst Canberra also were beaten by the league leaders Penrith Panthers. So both will be looking at bouncing back on that one. Apologies, unfortunately, no fan zone this week. I do have to apologise for that. I will not be able to do one this week, but we will be back if you're available, Greg, a week on Thursday as Huddersfield take on St Helens. So we'll
do that one.
We'll be around for that one.
We'll do that one.
This particular programme will continue. We will be back next Wednesday, 8 o'clock, where we will review round 3. We will preview round 4. We'll have this chat that we have. And do you know what, mate? Again, 1 hour and 20 minutes. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Great to talk all things rugby. Good debates, mate. Good debates.
Yeah. It's the greatest sport in the world. Why wouldn't we want to talk about it, mate?
Absolutely. And
why wouldn't we?
We appeal to everybody. Please. We know what we're expecting is it's going to be a tsunami. The moment a couple of fans break in and go, yeah, we want to do fan zone, or we want to come onto the weekly program and be a guest, a guest pundit, for want of a better word. I think once that happens, I think the floodgates will open. So to all of our members, to every single one of you, if you want to get involved in this is not about me and Greg. This is about the Rugby League family. Get involved in it.
Yes,
Tell us that you want to come on it. We'll send you the link. You can join us for Super League Weekly. You can join us to watch along with you when your team is playing. It'd be fantastic to have them on it.
Yeah, we want you to get involved. It'd be great. It'd be great if we could have the game tomorrow night. The Leeds Wigan game. If we could have a Leeds fan and a Wigan game to commentate on that, to talk us through like a goggle box thing, that would be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it would be.
It'd be fantastic. So yeah, get involved. Come on, let's. You must be bored of me and Dave by now. I am.
Well,
come on, get involved.
Look, we're rapidly approaching 500. 500 members on our members page. Rapidly approaching it. Surely there's got to be a few people in there that are looking at it saying, yeah,
there must be.
We want to have a go at this. So,
and
come on, get involved.
Do you know what I'd like? I'd like if there's any former refs, any junior refs, anybody out there. Come on, have a chat with us about decisions, about the the disciplinary panel.
Yeah.
Because we get one side of it. Let's hear the other side of things from referees' point of views. I'd love to get somebody on here who can chat about why decisions were made and why the RFL disciplinary panel made this decision. I think that would be really useful and give a good insight into to other fans as to how the game works. We've criticised the RFL disciplinary panel tonight.
Yeah, we have.
So let's get somebody who can give a different side of the story as to why those decisions were made. I'm happy to be proved wrong.
Well, on the plus side as well is that the actual Facebook fans forum page. It's great to see that some are now starting their own debates on that. There's been a lot of honestly, I've seen our post on other fan sites. I've seen people reacting to our post on our site.
Yeah.
A lot of people really limping in on that. But it'd be great to have a couple of people join us on here so that we can have a live debate about it and see where we go with it. So hopefully, over the course of the next couple of weeks, people will want to join us here on the weekly show.
Yeah,
like I say, we will be back for the fan zone watch along. Huddersfield against Saints a week on Thursday. Thursday nights, so Friday night games. They're probably the ones that we will cover probably the most as the season goes on. Just for logistical reasons, because of course weekends are weekends. But yeah, we want to get as many fans involved as possible. Greg, as always, really appreciated your company, mate. Go
pleasure,
safe,
sir. Pleasure.
and we will be back next week at 8 o'clock. For now, from me and for